for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and plan to getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That trade season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged the bond. And they already know what it is when I get on to the hearse. Party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, and today I'm flying solo, at least on the co-host side. Trey Holiday has a day out. She'll be back tomorrow for Feel Good Friday. And as you guys already know, Thursday is a big day for me. I'm always all smiles because this is my Friday. I'm getting ready to get out of here for this weekend. Don't know where I'm going yet, but I'm getting away from here. We got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be joined by Julia Jessie, co-host of Clapback Culture. Clapback Culture tonight is 7 o'clock. Julia Jessie and Mike Davis from the South Seattle Emerald. They're going to be talking about what's happening on the show. Lots of stuff. Mike Davis did a kind of a dive yesterday. Yeah, I was about to say it got funky over there. So we're looking forward to that. We'll talk to Julia here in a second. And then also we're joined by Tash Haynes. Tash Haynes is, I mean, they say blogger, content creator, but like you go to the website, they say everything. It's like, you know, it's motivational speaker, creative, entrepreneur, representing the city of Destiny. Tash Haynes is going to be here. Man, and she had the opportunity to go on the U.S. Civil Rights Trail last month. Really cool. And so we're going to talk about that experience. All right, you ready? Here we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now is the time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share this stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Salman's got SoundCloud right there, but you can also go to Google, Spotify, iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network. We got a link going in the comments right over there. This is hereforuswa.org. Hereforuswa.org. This is culturally relevant information around COVID, the vaccine, and resources. And we say culturally relevant, as we know a lot of times information comes out and we're an afterthought. And so why this is cool, hereforuswa.org. Especially right now with a lot of the rules and policies and laws changing around COVID and how we interact here in public, but also the threat that's still out there. If you have questions or concerns, especially if you're vaccine hesitant, but also if you want to get vaccinated, you need to get boosted, you want to get tested, you need resources, you can go there, hereforuswa.org. Man, so I'm going to touch on this because I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And by the time we're back on air, the show will be gone. But last night, me and Basa Gordon went to go see Blue, the opera. And I know Treyana had already gone. The Marley and Anthony Love from Traveling While Black in Seattle had already gone. I went to go see Blue last night with Basa Gordon at McCall Hall. And I'll be honest with you, like, I was so impacted, right? And the plays the opera, it's in two halves. You know, it's the first half, the intermission, the second half. So the first half is like, you know, it's kind of a story. Most people know he got a teenage son. You're butting heads with him. I think a lot of dads, especially, you know, your kids get 16, 17. It's just whatever. But, you know, it's kind of upbeat. And even though, like, we knew the storyline is that the son ends up getting killed. And also getting killed by a police officer. But the dad is also a police officer. Man, that second half of that opera, it was almost like we was all in tears the whole time because there's so many things that you hear. The mom talking about the sorority of sadness of mothers who lost their sons. You know, the father talking about, man, you spend your whole life telling your kids, you know what I'm saying, don't run across the street, follow everything officer says, don't put your hands in the pocket, don't move too quickly, we tell our kids, we have all these talks with our kids. And then, you know, it was just powerful. I would say this, if you have an opportunity, it's a few more showings of the opera Blue. I would really recommend it. I think for me personally, it's like I report on so many of these stories. We got people right now in the comments, I'm sure, who watch Converge daily, who are being impacted either by police violence or violence in the neighborhood, and they've lost their children, and they are part of that sorority of sadness, and it's real. And I think last night it was like grieving in real time watching this opera. I mean, I haven't been impacted by anything like that in a long time. So big shout out to the Seattle Opera and big shout out to everybody over there at Blue. If you get an opportunity, you definitely want to go check that out. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, there she is, Julia Jessie, host of Clapback Culture. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Basa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Basa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Hi, this is Robert Battle, Artistic Director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and we're thrilled to be performing live on stage again. Come see the extraordinary Ailey dancers during my 10th anniversary season and enjoy some wonderful new work, plus returning audience favorites, including Revelation.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. And right now, we're joined by Julia Jessie, co-host of Clapback Culture. Hey, Julia.
Hey, y'all. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, happy Thursday to you, man. And you're out there in Washington, D.C. How is it?
Regular day, nothing big. I mean, except for, the news is just reporting over and over again about this Ukraine crisis. So I'm a little bit worried to go into these federal government buildings, Amari, but I'll be honest, it's just a regular day in the neighborhood, honey.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you work in government out there, so I mean, good luck not going in those.
Yeah, no, really, buildings. Like it's intense. I'm just thinking, like, man, when they crack down and the federal government says and gives us any indication that it's unsafe, your girl will be sitting right here at home. But I'm so close to the Capitol that it almost is just like I'll be getting in my car and mama, I'm coming to Vegas.
Look at you. You might be one of the few black folks that still live close to the Capitol, considering how much stuff has changed in DC. Hey, but look, Clapback Culture, man. Tell me, what are you guys talking about tonight?
Man, Amari, I'm so glad that you're actually on the show today because we are going to talk about James and Jennifer Crumbley actually being able to stand trial. You and I chopped it up about this, and initially, I did not think that a judge was going to rule that, that they were to stand trial, that they had a role in this. But the judge said, yeah, you neglected ordinary care. You did not exercise ordinary care for your son. And, that due diligence of taking care of him was not met. And the court finds that the 4 victims, as well as the other students that were injured, could have been avoided. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to break that case down. Again, that's something I've been salivating about.
And just jumping in here real quick from our viewers who might need a reminder, the Crumbley, this was the teenager who went to school, did a school shooting, and what happened was the prosecutor there and the sheriff, they went after the parents. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's why the parents got charged, because like the school had said the kid had a problem. They gave him access to a gun, right.
So, right. So let's back it up a little bit. So James and Jennifer Crumbley are the parents of Ethan Crumbley, the alleged Oxford High School shooter. He's the 15-year-old shooter who opened fire in his school, killing 4 students and injuring a handful more. This is historic. This case is historic because we've never seen parents charged with involuntary manslaughter as it relates to these school shootings, these mass shootings. We haven't seen a judge come through and say, actually, I think that this is relevant. And so what the prosecutors had to prove, Amari, is that the parents neglected to provide ordinary care. And so they have broken this case all the way down. And now the parents are going to stand trial for this. And, it got crazy. It got real ugly. They opened up, Ethan's journal, and in the journal entries, he's talking about his mental health. He's talking about having conversations with his parents, and his parents neglected to take him to see a therapist. He communicates that he is going to have the biggest mass shooting, the biggest school shooting in the state of Michigan. He even goes as far as talking about that his first victim needs to be a beautiful girl. And so it's troubling. And, I feel like the prosecution did a very good job with really opening this case. And it's going to set a new standard for how parents and how involved they are with their kids, and where that level of responsibility starts and ends.
Yeah, I mean, man, it really start with listening to your kid. It's funny. It's not funny. It's real that like a lot of these cases, there were so many signs, there was so many this, so many conversations, so many whatever, and a lot of people disregarded. Sometimes, and the parents. Sometimes we've had times where people have tipped off the police, and the police are like, nah, they disregarded. But these school shootings is like, it's going to be interesting right here. And
Yeah.
I think that you're right that a lot of people are going to look at the outcome of this, especially if the parents are found guilty. What else you got coming up on the show?
So some other stuff that's come up in the news, you guys, in our Do It for the Culture section, we're going to definitely talk about Ryan Coogler being detained at Bank of America for allegedly being a bank robber. Child, we know he is not in need of robbing a bank. And so he did.
And who is he again for our audience?
Ryan Coogler. First of all, can we just shout out the fact that he is an Oakland native? He is the biggest Black director, and he is the director that did Black Panther. He also did Fruitvale. I mean, Ryan Coogler he's that guy in terms of film and direction. And so it's like, how could you not know? And Omari, he was in Atlanta. Okay, you're in Black Hollywood, and the bank teller had no idea who he was. I'm like, if Ryan Coogler walked in here, I would know who he is. I would absolutely recognize him. And so,
but they tried to say what? They tried to say, so this is the director of Black Panther. Basically, what Julia's saying, the director of Black Panther was arrested in Atlanta because they said he tried to rob the bank, or they said he tried to pass the check was fake, or what?
So here are the quick and dirty details. Ryan Coogler went into the Bank of America. On his deposit slip, he wrote a note on the back that said, I would like to withdraw $12,000 from my account. I would like for you not to count it in front of me, but take it to a place to have discretion, right? Because what happens is, Omari, is when you go and make a huge withdrawal, the bank teller is going to count all that money out in front of you. And so the note kept saying, please go to the back and do it because I want to leave out here with discretion. Well, the bank teller felt nervous about the interaction. And so while she's having a conversation with him, she's like, okay, well, what can I help you with today? And he says, look at the note, look at the note, look at the note. She takes his ID. He swipes his Bank of America debit card at the counter. So he's already proven identity. She verifies that, he's a resident of California with the California state ID, but she does not disclose whether or not she read the note. And so for whatever reason, she must have saw the note or felt as if the note were his attempt to rob the bank. And so before following through, she made a call to 911, and the police came in and they detained Ryan Coogler. I mean, it's crazy.
Man, all right. So that's crazy. So it's crazy on a few different levels, right? Is it one, here's the director of Black Panther, right? Say who's all the way up. You talk about going to the bank and then counting out a lot of money. I work at Converge. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often for me. But I'm assuming, I hear they're counting out 1,000, 2,000. What I'm saying, it's like, one, that's ill. You know what I'm saying? That they call the police and everything else. But on the flip side, it's like he ain't got no private banking relationship with B of A. Like, you call in people and be like, man, I'm going to the Buckhead branch. Have my bread ready for me.
Well, and that's another thing that I was kind of thinking about too, is, well, first, in full transparency, I used to work as a bank teller, and I understand from a teller's perspective that when someone slips you that little note, or even when someone reaches into their jacket, you're always kind of thinking like, oh my God, is this my time that someone's going to rob the bank? However, if she had have read the note and looked at the ID, girl, it says Ryan Coogler on it. Like, he's not coming to rob the bank. So you didn't even balance it.
I hear you on that. And it's something opposite. And I know we got to cut you short here, but it's a bank here in Seattle. I ain't going to put them out here this morning because apparently we resolved it. But it's a bank here in Seattle that, like, even when a check was written on their bank, right, it'd be crazy because when I would go, and I'm the signature on the bank account, when I would go and deposit the check, this bank here in Seattle, and I'm identified, everything swiped, they would hold the amount, or they would just deposit a little bit. Our employees, basically our white employees, send over there, deposit the check. They make the check available 100%. And it got to a point, man. I remember one day, it was just right before I went off. And I was like, this is unbelievable that I sit here. I own the company, but I got to send white people over here to deposit the check, because when I deposit the checks, y'all hold everything. So, you know, it's different, but yeah, I mean, those assumptions that people make around banking.
Well, there's a whole new wave of people coming out talking about banking while Black. And a lot of people are coming out and showing that they are being racially profiled. I think in this case, it's hard to say whether or not Ryan was being racially profiled or not, because not only were all the individuals working at Bank of America Black, but also the arresting officers were as well. And so I think it's not an issue of race, but it's definitely an issue of profiling at its finest and someone not doing their due diligence. So I agree with you, Omari. I've experienced issues like that in the bank, especially when I have large deposits or, I'm making a large withdrawal. And, you just feel like, I'm infusing capital into your bank. You should be treating me like a viable customer and not, giving me the runaround. So Ryan Coogler, he said that Bank of America and him have resolved the issue. So he's not going to make any further statement.
Of course, it's a bank. They got lots of ways to resolve issues.
I was wondering, I was thinking about that. I'm like, how does Bank of America resolve the issue with the director of Black Panther? So I'm thinking, did they give him a little extra something, a little 2 on the 10? But we don't know what the resolution is, but we're just happy to see that that doesn't happen. But again, this whole idea of banking while Black is on the table. And so maybe that's something you can come and talk about with us.
Well, if you see advertising for the next Black Panther movie in the Bank of America app, well, if you do the online banking, then we know what happened.
Yep.
All right. 7:00 tonight, you and Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald. We got it on the screen, but tell people how they can keep up with you.
All right, y'all. Well, you can find me on Clapback Culture every Thursday night at 7 p.m. And of course, pull up on social media. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Treasure of JULES. Slide in my DMs, send me some stories. Let me know what you want to talk about. I'd love to hear from you.
All right, Julia Jessie, the Clapback Queen of Converse. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a good rest of your morning, you guys.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going to be a good day for me. It's Thursday. It's my Friday. Okay. Oh, man, I'm really excited for this next segment. After the break, there she is, Tash Haynes. This is content creator, blogger, I think master of everything amazing and wonderful. We're going to be talking to Tash about her experience on the U.S. Civil Rights Trail right after this. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
In the depths of Belize, the travelers come across the waters, harvesting with their hands, learning of resilience rooted deep in the lands, culture thriving like a fire ablaze, sizzling with a pop and a chop, sharing its ways. Knowledge simmers and grinds into the hearts and minds, cutting away from the surface stories and colonial lies, boiling it down, breaking its shell as the truth pours out and gets plated collectively with love, spooned into bowls, feeding the soul. Garifuna, alive and strong, at Palmetto Grove.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. And right now, really excited to welcome to the set from the City of Destiny, Tash Haynes. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. Welcome to the Morning Update Show.
Thank you. I'm
Black
so
Media
excited to
Matters
be here.
Studios.
This is so cool.
Yeah, no, we're excited to have you here, and we're going to talk a bit about your trip on the U.S. Civil Rights Trail,
Yes.
and even before that, this historic plane, the commitment, and everything else with Alaska Airlines. But before we get to that, though, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Tash. I am a photographer, content creator, blogger based out of Tacoma, Washington. And I am really passionate about just storytelling and stories and social justice and just all the things that like concern me as a woman, and especially like as a Black woman raising 3 Black women. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. You have a website as well, right?
I do, yes. It's wisdomandcourage.com.
Right. Salman's put that link there in the comments. Everybody check that out. There's a lot going on over there in a good way. You know, sometimes
Like, what you mean?
Sometimes we get guests and there's a lot going on. And I'd be like, bro, that's just a lot. No,
But it makes sense, right?
You know, what I'm saying is that, man, you have a lot of wonderful things and efforts that either you're doing directly or you're advocating or supporting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
it means a lot to me.
Good stuff. How long have you been a blogger, a content creator in this definition of it? Because it seems like somebody like you's probably been doing things their whole life, but in this modern day definition, in this box.
I have been taking pictures probably since I was 5 years old.
There you go.
Well, not 5, but I definitely found my love for photography back then. I actually aged out of the foster care system and didn't grow up with pictures. So it was really important to me to be able to like record memories. My husband and I, we started our business in 2009, 2010. So I've been a photographer for the last 12, 13 years. And then it was during the pandemic that we weren't allowed to shoot because of COVID, and my blog started taking off. And so I've been a content creator for the last almost 3 years.
Man, and that's like this current definition.
Yeah,
you've been creating the content.
Been creating content forever,
right.
But like intentionally creating content for storytelling and messaging, working with brands the last 3 years.
I bring that up because there's a whole category of where people say social media influencer and this and that, which is cool. I mean, they got their lane, but that's much different than people who create content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like influencers, like we all have influence, right? And it's about like, are we being intentional about how we use our influence? But I feel like content creation is taking my story and your story and collaborating and creating a message that both connects with the person who's following and delivers kind of like this idea or this, I guess, story that we want to tell together. It's like a meshing of 2 people's stories for a greater good, I guess.
Right. No, it's dope. When you talk about like really being in the photos at a young age, my father started one of the very first Black-owned photography portrait studios in the state of Washington. Here, Salisbury Photography, almost 50 years ago in the Central District. So I was a little kid. I used to be in the dark room. You know what I'm saying? Helping my dad develop photos.
That's actually really incredible.
Yeah. And so when you were talking about it, kind of like jogged my memory. Like,
you're like, wait a minute. I like pictures too. Do you shoot now?
Not as much as I want to. I'm around all these professionals now. They all put me to shame. And the best thing is, I'll say this, and I know my dad's watching down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Hi, Dad. To this day, and I'm okay with it, right? To this day, I still aspire to be as good of a writer as my dad, as good as an orator as my dad, and especially a photographer. And so I still got a ways to go because he said,
You got to pick up that camera every day.
Yeah, at his height of his career, he was one of the top 100 photographers in America and all this kind of stuff.
That's amazing. So, that's incredible.
You know, but he don't put no pressure on. This is my lane, Dad. I'm in video, okay? So we'll talk about that.
Well, video is the new wave. I mean, that's the new photography, right? Like everyone loves motion and movement, and that's how storytelling is. I mean, we see it in social media, right? Everybody wants to do reels and be on TikTok. So I think you're actually leading this whole thing.
Oh, well, thank you. We're over here, we trying. So what is the last few years then been like in this space of content creation and blogging?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the last couple years I've just been finding my voice and like what I guess feels true to me. A lot of my growth came in 2020 when we were doing the whole amplified melanated voices. I was one of the creators that was showing up every day and kind of sharing my experience as a Black woman in this space, but also in the world. And I feel like people really connected to that. And so I feel like since then, I've been just trying to figure out like what my message is and what I want to get out there, and really using my influence to impact people's life. Because I think when people follow us, there's a responsibility. And when people follow us, they're looking for answers. So it's like, what are you the answer to? And that's the question that I'm always asking myself.
Yeah, it seems like you move with a sense of intentionality, but also responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because your platforms and where you're at, it's also kind of positioned where yes, you're talking to us. You're talking to Black folk, Black community, shared experience. We were just talking during one of the breaks of like some things we don't have to share within Black community because Black people
we just know we have an understanding. Yes.
Right. But then also you have a whole nother community. You have white people and all kinds of other people that are now looking at your blog and at your platform to gain a sense of understanding. Well-intending people, by the way, who are just trying to get insights into things. So you're also moving with a sense of responsibility because you know that everybody else is watching you.
I do. I feel that way. I don't think it's our responsibility to labor on behalf of white people ever. But I also feel like I don't want to let them decide what I need. And so for me, I have decided I'm going to show up and I'm going to educate and I'm going to share, because I'm not going to let you make a decision about what is going to impact my life the best or what I need moving forward or how you can support me. I'm going to tell you exactly what I need from you, and then I'm going to hold you accountable to doing it. But I don't think everybody should have to do that.
Can we do a show together? I know today we're talking about this because that's been so much the experience here in Converge, and to a very nasty and threatening level that people here in this city want to sometimes through threat tell us what we could report on in our community, what Black people want to hear and see and hear from and everything else. And some of the mail and some of the other things we get is like crazy. And, you know, always got to come on every few months and be like, hey, I'm glad that everyone can appreciate this platform. You know, I'm a global citizen. We're saying before, I've been to 60 countries, lived around the world. I love all God's people. You know, everybody's welcome on this platform. But, you know, we're here in the Black Media Matters studio and we're programming for our community. And when other people are sitting there saying like, oh, you can't say this and that, you get what I'm saying?
It's like, yo, we've been told for 400 years what we can and cannot do.
Right.
And like, it's like, no, we're reclaiming our voices, we're reclaiming our stories, and we are going to, if they're not going to do it for us, we've got to do it for ourselves. I loved walking in here and seeing Black Media Matters, because I think what you're doing is so important, and giving people a chance to share their stories and giving people a voice. Like, that's what we need, and we need that from each other, you know? So you're doing amazing work, and I love everything that's happening here.
Well, thank you. I know one thing that we have in common for sure, probably amongst a lot of things, by the way, but one thing for sure in common that everybody in our viewing audience knows is Alaska Airlines.
Yes.
Right. And for us, Alaska Air, you know, we just, people saw during the break there, we got all these great commercials and everything from Belize. They launched that original
you just left
route.
Me. You forgot to take me with you.
They just need to get more routes. We'll go together. But November 19th, man, was 16 of them. That's probably it, the way it hit the limit. I think they probably told us 10 originally, and we ended up with 16. But 16 of us down there. And, you know, it was an amazing trip down there to Belize. We were there for 10 days. Now, for you, and we'll get into the actual tour and the details of it, but you partnered with Alaska on the Civil Rights Trail.
I did. I'm a huge fan of Alaska. My family flies Alaska all the time. I'm actually, one of my components of my platform is travel blogging. I wanted to normalize Black families traveling, Black families traveling with young children, luxury travel, those things. So we fly on Alaska, and I had this dream of working with them. And so I was sitting on a panel one day, and I'm like, y'all need to work with me. Like, I got a story to tell. I believe in what y'all are doing. And they were like, say less, kind of.
No, you know what? I would say, and it's a few things here I want to talk about. And one is the commitment. But I will say that with Alaska, it was a real unique entry point into our relationship with Alaska, because we covered the commitment when the plane first came out, and we're going to show everybody the commitment, and we're going to show some photos. But we had never done anything with Alaska. We never got invited to do anything with Alaska. And then we got a call from their agency. I think it was C+C, one of the agencies, like, hey, they're doing something with United Negro College Fund, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I ain't never heard of Alaska doing nothing with no Black folks. And it's this whole George Floyd, like, everybody was calling Converge, being like, oh, this is our DEI. This is what we're doing. And so I'm telling the woman on the phone, I'm telling her, Jennifer, I'm telling her, like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? This sounds like somebody just trying to get some publicity around, George Floyd, DEI. And she was like, yo, it's unfortunate, man, because, they've been doing this for 15 years.
You were like,
and
what?
I said, what? Yeah, exactly. I was like, 15 years. So we went out there to go uncover the commitment, and we thought that it was just going to be like a news segment. Mm-hmm. And when we saw that plane and we saw the reaction and interaction with everybody out there, we made a segment, the full commitment segment, about 7 minutes. And it was really well received by Alaska and the general public. And I talked to Kaylee afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation. And what I told her, I was like, man, thank you for this invitation to cover the commitment, this plane with Black faces and everything. But I said, by the way, man, we could do so much more if y'all don't just call us when it's about something Black.
Right.
And the light bulb went off over there. And man, we covered the Salmon 30 Salmon, the Russell Wilson plane, the Kraken plane, the Eco demonstrator, and all those things, and then on to Belize and everything else. But
that was the moment though where you were able to be like, this is how we can work together and collaborate.
Exactly.
I'm not going to let you decide how this goes. I'm going to suggest some ideas, and I'm going to put some things on the table.
Right. And in their credit, Alaska it only in that split second, the whole relationship was like, word, and almost everything that Alaska does, we get invited to. We can't cover everything, man. They're very busy with all the things they do, but we get invited, and that's a first step. That being said, though, when we talked about the commitment, and we got a few pictures here that we're going to put up in a second.
Yeah.
But I also want to take this moment to acknowledge Ade Hogue.
Yes.
And Ade was a typographer on the commitment, this aircraft. And Ade unfortunately passed away tragically last year. Mm-hmm. Our viewers know about the commitment, but we have a short clip here, about 90 seconds of Ade talking about the design on the plane.
We knew when we first started off there was one quote that we were going to do. Ended up being two, so there's one on each side. Originally, it was just working with the Dr. King quote, so I was trying to use some civil rights era inspiration going into it, and that led to the overall style that we sort of finalized on. It evolved dramatically, I think, through multiple rounds of revisions, just sort of working with the amount of space that was on. But it's the overall, I don't even know, the style of the typeface is one that's extended. It's designed to be sort of impactful. It was really, the original inspiration came from the word right. That was the first word I sort of created, and then the rest of the letter sort of built off of that. I'm not even sure what it means yet, and I don't think I'm going to fully grasp it or understand it until I see it in the sky, and I see it at airports. Seeing a plane that is, one, painted Black, but also has Black faces painted on it, is something that's crazy. It's striking. It looks totally different than every other plane you see on the tarmac, so I think it's going to be a really unique thing to see.
was Ade Hogue right there. Rest in power, Ade. But putting that plane together and the commitment and the statement that that plane makes.
Yeah, it's powerful. I feel like it is a physical manifestation of Alaska's commitment to equity and inclusion and diversity. And it's all of those things that you wouldn't know that the airline is doing behind the scenes, but that's kind of like the physical reminder that they are like about it, you know, that it's not just like talk, that they put their money where their mouth is in every single way.
Yeah, you know, I like that in this how you put that, because it's really dope, because we get invited to be on so many Zoom calls and meetings of this and that, and how can we change, blah 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 blah. Alaska's just like, look, bro, we gonna put our money where our mouth is.
We're gonna
Here's
get this
a commitment.
plane, and you're gonna see it, and we're gonna remind you that we are actively doing the work.
Right.
You know?
No, 100%. So I was fortunate enough that day to go on the inaugural flight.
Where'd you guys go to?
And well, we just flew around Mount Rainier and came back, and they actually had, and people can watch that full segment if you go to any of our platforms there and you search Alaska Airlines, The Commitment, in the full 7-minute segment. And they actually had the very first Black pilot at Alaska, came up to the cockpit and everything else. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I was on the inaugural flight, but you got an experience that none of us got, where you got an actual photo shoot there with the family and the plane. Go put this up sometime.
You know, it was pretty epic. I've never been on the tarmac of the airport, and more than just me, like seeing my little girls walk out to this plane, and seeing these faces and knowing that those were other young people that look like them. It was really like something we'll never forget. And it went crazy, obviously, online. Like, they were like, who are you that you've got Alaska bringing this plane in? And when Kaylee was like, we found the Our Commitment plane, we're flying it home so you can shoot with it, it was like a dream come true. It was definitely a core memory that I will never forget.
I mean, people always wonder why we say that we're so proud of our hometown airline. You know, Alaska has, I mean, the commitment is literally there. Is
from the top all the way down.
Yeah.
All the way down. I have so many friends that work for Alaska. They are so happy. Like, they're diehard workers. They've been there for like 15 years, 20 years, like straight out of college, and they love working there. They're people of color. And so I can feel good about being in partnership with them, because I know that it's not just about the brand. Like, it really is a heart thing that they're working so hard to make sure that they're staying on top of and kind of leading the way, you know, in terms of the airline space and then the travel space. So it was really cool to see.
Right. No, so Kaylee made us aware that you were going on the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. And that's just kind of one of those things, like, it passed it, hey, by the way, you know, and I'm like, oh, word, you know, send us some stuff. How can we share? How can we build awareness?
You guys were so supportive during that time. Thank you so much.
That's what we're supposed to do. The uplift is real. But tell us, how did the planning on that between you and the family and Alaska and going on that trip? And then we're going to go into some photos from the trip.
So Alaska and I have a long-term partnership. And so we're just thinking about different like messages and things that we want to put out. Black History Month was right around the corner. They knew they wanted to make impact. I wanted to do something special. So they suggested some ideas. And I was just like, what could be more impactful than sending my family to the U.S. Civil Rights Trail? Like, I'd never seen these places before. My children hadn't. And I feel like after 2020, I know for me as like a Black woman, I've had to unlearn a lot and really like build myself back up again. So I just wanted to like go and see what it was like to walk the steps of my ancestors, to like see these places that we've talked about our whole lives. And it just felt like a really great opportunity. And I actually online have a majority white following. So I just thought, what an opportunity for me to also educate people as I'm actually experiencing this and like seeing it for the first time and having real reactions. And so they were like down for the idea, and we pulled that trip off in like 6 days. 6 days of planning.
Yo, that's believable. You know, I'm just saying, just like, you know, with your effort in planning, Alaska's effort in planning, and putting everything together.
It was like a Thursday that we
really
had the
that.
meeting, and we were on the plane the next Wednesday.
All right. So now, speaking of on the plane here, now I'll be quiet because these might go by a little fast for our audience. Yes. But we got a few pictures here we'll put up on screen that you can tell us about.
Perfect. So this is Edmund Pettus Bridge. This is where a lot of historic marches happened with Dr. King from Selma to Montgomery. This is the Lorraine Hotel, which is one of the last places. Well, this is basically where the civil rights movement ended when Dr. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. This is Little Rock Central High School, the very first high school in America that was integrated. The Little Rock Nine paved the way for all of us. 16th Street Baptist Church, home of 4 little girls who were bombed by Ku Klux Klan on a Sunday afternoon. And Atlanta, Black Mecca, Black Hollywood, and John Lewis, who is a historic figure in the civil rights movement.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy too, because the Edmund Pettus Bridge, that's where John Lewis was right there. They said he got beat within an inch of his life right there on that bridge. Bloody
a lot
Sunday
happened on that bridge.
Right. And people don't realize, like you said, there was several marches. They were persistent.
There were 3 marches.
Right.
Yeah.
They're gonna get over that bridge.
I learned a lot of that actually on the trip.
Yeah.
You know,
and when you talk about there, you know, people that they say the 4 little girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Birmingham at the time was known as Bombingham. They were, you know, that act was so egregious though that it went around the world, and it, you know, there was an impact. But it was Bombingham.
They were bombing. I think I read that like in the span of 8 years, there were like 90 bombs that went off in Birmingham during that time. And so it was definitely like a place. And across the street from 16th Street Baptist Church, is a park. I can't think of the name right now, but that's where a lot of freedom riders and stuff would hang out. And that's where they were like shooting the teens with the hoses there. Now it's a peaceful park that is like in memorial to the 4 little girls and just all the things that happened there. But it's wild, the things that took place.
Yeah. And I appreciate, can I be honest?
Yes,
with
please.
you, is that as a Black man, you know, I loved following you because I'm a history buff and everything else. But also, you know, during especially Black History Month, a lot of times we're traumatized. Black people are, you know. But what I really liked about what you were doing is you were educating, but also the uplift. My mom always says you can't tear people down without building them back up. And I know for us, a lot of times this history is painful.
It's very painful.
And it's still real and it's raw and it tears us down. And I really like how you were intentional there not to leave people in an affected state, because it's very easy to look at some of these things, like I said, that they're in Birmingham, or Bloody Sunday, they're in Selma on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and all these things that we've encountered and endured. And it's important that we understand our history and legacy. But I want to say thank you for not leaving us, the viewer, impacted and affected.
You are going to make me cry. That trip for me helped me to understand how strong our people were, and how much what I really took away from it was just like the love that they had for us, the forethought that they had for us to do all of the things that they did, in hopes of a better future. Not a guarantee, but in hopes. Like, it was like before they even knew who we were, they were like, I want Tash and Omar to have the very best possible life. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to go march. I'm going to do whatever I can to fight for a better future. And I could only be proud of where I came from, to have that kind of resilience and that kind of fight and that kind of power to just keep going after, you know, that's in us. That's who we are. And it just was so beautifully encouraging to me, to be able to, I didn't mean to cry, but it is like still so tender, because it was really powerful for me.
Yeah, I could tell that the best thing is that you did Black history right.
Thank you.
And I say that because a lot of times, even ourselves in our own community, we do a disservice in that, yes, we talk about these historical things. And like I said, we leave each other traumatized, and let alone what corporate America does, where they just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you did it right. And you did it intentionally. And that's what you're supposed to do. And I will say, I'll bring up this last thing here. Remember when you were on your way out, you went to
please. Yep.
You went to, was it a restaurant or a store?
No, I was in the airport coming home from a really amazing trip with my sister. This is I'm talking like on the heels of this trip. I flew home from flew to Seattle. I was home for 6 hours and I flew to Texas. And I went to a concert, Emily King. It's a plug for her. And then on our way back through the airport, we were racially profiled. And I would really debated on whether or not to share it. But I was actually encouraged to share it by the Black police officer who was there. And I shared it because I already had the attention of people from the trip. And I just felt like it was so frustrating. It was so humiliating in so many ways. But I felt like, man, this is divine. This is kismet, because here I am talking about this trip and these things that happen and how Black people have really had to fight for dignity and humanity. And just, we've been fighting for 400 years and we're fighting now still, you know? And here's me, like, fully together, articulate, educated, all the things. I mean, I was wearing stuff that cost more than what was in that store. And this woman treated me like scum of the earth. And I felt like it was important to share that, because even in all of my achievements and accomplishments and everything, like, I'm still treated like a Black girl. Like, I mean, I was going to use a different word, but we're on the radio.
Yeah, no.
You know? So, I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter like how great you are or how much, you know, it doesn't matter. The world sees you as Black. And it's just frustrating in so many ways.
You know, the one, I can relate to that, because when I'm not wearing a Converge shirt, people don't recognize me. And, you know, my experience is like how a lot of other people's are every day. But we didn't share. So we shared like almost all your posts. We didn't share that post though, because I knew that like our core audience in the Central District, the South End, even there in Tacoma, in between, you know, Kent, Berrien, Black people in those areas. That was just one more thing. That
I mean, that's just our norm. Like, that's just how it is. But I knew that it wasn't for Black people. We know our struggles. We know what we go through. We have our conversations and our things, but it was like, yo, white people, like, okay, Black Square is awesome, but like, this is still a problem, and it's your problem. It's not ours. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, see, this is dope, man. Before we let you go, because I know you the title, just like I said, the title content creator / blogger doesn't really encompass everything. What's all the different stuff you got going on and how people can plug in?
Yeah, so I blog, obviously. I'm a photographer. You can find us on Ike and Tash. We do weddings and portraits and engagements. I try really hard not to introduce myself based on the things that I do. Like, I just think that like that can be really difficult, but I am on TikTok and Instagram. I mean, I really am just like a content creator. That's what I breathe and live and create. And I really just want to inspire people to go after the life that they want. Everything that I've done up to this point was not supposed to be my story, but I fought forward, much like the people that came before me, to have the life that I want. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm just kind of living the life that I'm dreaming of.
Man, that's really dope. When people, because we got someone's putting a link in the comments again here right now. People go to your website, what can they do there? Yeah,
so if you go to wisdomandcourage.com, you can subscribe. Thank you. Head over to Instagram. You like my Instagram, content every day. Meet me in the stories. That's where it's fun. And I just got on TikTok yesterday. I'm late to the upload, but come meet me. Come meet me on TikTok.
We'll follow you. We're kind of getting out the gates on TikTok.
I know. Why are we? I'm so slow. I'm slow to the upload.
Nah, but you know the thing is too, right? Is that there's some people very, very dope at TikTok and everything, right? I don't think I'll ever be the TikTok.
I think we're too old.
Person. Well, I just think that different people tell stories in different ways.
I agree.
And that's just like, you know, people love Converge because we'll talk and we'll cover the same story the news will, but we do 5 or 6 minute segments. We can never do like, evening news and tell the whole story in 1 minute or 90 seconds. They're really good at that.
Giving us
But would
bites.
struggle with this. They'd be like, oh, that's too much time. So, everybody has their lane. And I think that, it's dope. You got a TikTok going.
Yeah,
but I will say this is that you're a profound storyteller who can tell stories across different media. My daddy always said, it's just like a camera. My daddy said that the photo is right here, right? And whatever camera is a medium that you use. And it's almost like whatever tools we use. So yes, is whether we use a video camera. I tell people, if I have a video camera. If I not, I'll use my iPhone. iPhone ain't working, maybe a still camera. If that ain't working, maybe a voice note. If that ain't working, I'm gonna write it down. And if nothing else, it's gonna be oral history because the story is here. Everything else is just methods of delivery.
I love that. Well, I do have some things that I'm going to drop later this year. We're launching a YouTube channel.
Hello.
It's already up there, but we're going to upload new videos. It'll be like family photography, travel focused. And then I may or may not be dropping a podcast in Q4.
Well, you let us know, because here's what I will say is this. Whatever you do, because that's what I'm saying. It's a great medium that we're in over here. And even if it's resharing TikTok, can you do that, Salman? We're able to reach, the young guys know. Whatever we can do here at Converge to uplift you, your platform, and what you're doing, man, we just a phone call away. And I mean that.
Thank you.
So when you launch the podcast, let us know. We let everybody know. You launch the channel, let us know. If you got merch, let us know. Anything that we can do. But before I get out of here, or before I let you get out of here, we've had you for a long time today. And it's great because this was only supposed to be like 12 minutes. Hey, how was the tour? This and that. But this is just a great conversation. And sometimes you don't want to limit that. We'll talk it out. Before I let you go, if there's any shout outs that you want to do or anybody, I know you told how people can get you on your website. If you want to tell how you can get your actual Instagram and your handles and stuff.
Hit me up on Instagram. It's Tash Haynes across all platforms. Check out the blog, wisdomencourage.com. If you need family pictures, icontosh.com. And thank you so much for having me.
All right, good. No, you're welcome back anytime. Awesome. For sure. We're gonna take a quick break right now. When I come back, we got a few events to hit. And man, what a great discussion. Now, what you guys need to go and follow Tash, like on the real, and be supportive. Let's do this. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Hi, this is Robert Battle, Artistic Director of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and we're thrilled to be performing live on stage again. Come see the extraordinary Ailey dancers during my 10th anniversary season and enjoy some wonderful new work, plus returning audience favorites, including Revelation.
All right, you see there, Alvin Ailey, March 26th, March 27th, Paramount Theater, STG presents. You can pick up tickets there. Tash is still here on the set, and we were saying here during the commercial break that it's like Alaska Airlines actually brought us together.
I just am so thankful for Alaska for using their platform to elevate us, and to elevate me and to allow us to tell our stories. So yeah, we would not be here if it weren't for them. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, this is true. Facts. Big, I would say this is that segment that we did, the commitment. And I tell people this all the time. And it was really weird because that day when I was sitting there and I saw that plane and I thought to myself, I'm like, what an amazing canvas for us to be able to tell a story. And, at the time, we ain't had the money to edit it the way we wanted to. Still don't. But I called Gary Washington, who's our editor. He lives in Bellingham. And I was like, Gary, I said, we just saw the most amazing thing. I said, if we could put something together for Feel Good Friday. And he worked the whole week and we put that together. And the way that it was received and then the way that Alaska received us, sometimes things be in your head as well. Like, oh man, could we do this? Could we do that? But Alaska reaffirming our work, for a quick, because a lot of stuff we do, man, City Hall, man, is, you'll never get it's political,
Right.
And when Alaska Airlines was like, yo, this is dope, and it was just so that's always a special intersection. Anytime I see that plane or any story that's tied to that plane, I was just sharing that with you.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
So special.
Good stuff. All right. We're on the top of the hour. So we're going to go overtime here a little bit. Got one or two announcements I need to touch on here. Is what do we got back? Well, first of all, clap back. We talked about that tonight, 7:00. Julia, Jessie, and Mike Davis, they're up. And then the Factors at 9:00. You recorded the Factors last night, huh, someone? It was dope, huh? Yeah, okay. The twins, Ronald and Ronell. Again, Alvin Ailey, we mentioned that. Though they got overlaid too. That's March 26th, March 27th. They're at the theater. And what else do we have here? Oh, I know. The most important mention. I'm off tomorrow. Feel Good Friday with Treyana. Treyana Holiday will be here, man. And it looks like they're going to be cutting up tomorrow. And if you know anything about cutting up, you know what I'm talking about. Tomorrow, Feel Good Friday, 11:00. Man, I want to say thank you to everybody. What a fantastic week I've had here on the Morning Update Show. Thank you for your continued support of Converge Media. Thank you for your continued support of Black media mattering here in our community and beyond. Well, you're still here on the set, so we're going to do this together, okay?
All right.
So I'm going to say something here, and then I'm going to say peace, and we're going to look in the camera right here. And that's the wide. That's the middle camera here, right? All right, everybody. As usual, we're going to leave you with a little bit of hope by Shayna Shepherd. I want to thank, of course, my guest here, Tash Haynes. An incredible show. We've had a great time here. And on that note, I want to remind you to go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Hey.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that turn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked. I got used to hiding. I know no one is a shadow. 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 No one is a shadow. But I feel naked in my new clothes. 'Cause I got used to hiding